Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the moment that I and so many others have all been waiting for. Welcome to TOXIKK 1.0 vanilla build. Man, that feels good to say. So for those of you that are brand new to TOXIKK, let me give you a little bit of background. TOXIKK released an early access beta version 0.7 something. This was back in January of 2015. I believe it released January 22nd of 2015. And for every update between then and now, I have made a update video, maybe not including a smaller patch here and there that I combined into one video. But otherwise, I have kept up with this game from its inception, actually from its announcement trailer, like months before that, all the way till now. If you'd like, there are other videos that detail what is, the changes up till this point, but I'd say you probably don't care. You want to see what's the full release all about. So in that vein, I'm going to cater to my loyal viewers that have watched all the other ones, and I'm going to give them a little bit of background about what happened between the last patch and this patch, and then we'll jump right into the game and talk about it as a, an entire new package standalone. So I'm excited. Let's get started. So for those of you that had played version V1.00 in the Ginger generation, you may have noticed that there was a sneaky little update between then and the current 1.0 build. It was V0.98. There was no media about it. There was no disclaimer, nothing. It just kind of popped up as a 1 gig update. This did actually add a lot of stuff, like it added the contract single player missions, but they were kind of janky. Some achievements were broken on like levels 4 and 5 that I just went back and wrapped up. There was no tutorial text in the first mission that, kind of shows you how to learn the basics of movement and all that kind of thing. So it was rudimentary, but it was pretty much done. And then V1.00 dropped, and we have a complete experience, and it pretty much wraps everything up. So you really didn't miss a whole lot the past, day or whenever it dropped, but just allowed me to get some footage ahead of time and roll this review out quicker, which is always a good thing. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, what is TOXIKK anyway? TOXIKK is a love letter to the entire arena shooter genre. It kind of picks and chooses different elements from different games over the years, such as Unreal Tournament, Quake, even Doom, and melds them into its own experience and adds its own unique flavor of things, including vehicular combat and just different types of weapons and a pretty cool art style, in my opinion. Believe me, I wouldn't be keeping up with this game if it didn't have some serious mojo behind it. So before we get into the main gameplay aspect, I always like to talk about settings and all that good technical mojo for us PC gamers, especially considering that this is a PC-only title, and it was from the outright. So let's talk about performance and all that good stuff. And I'm actually going to be doing this part real time, which is unusual for me, so just bear with me here. So from the main menu, let's start at the bottom and talk about options. First of all, controls, completely rebindable keys on everything, which is fantastic for any PC game especially, but everything's pretty logically laid out from the get-go. The only thing is that crouch is set to C. I like it on control, but you can change it whatever you like, including mouse buttons if you have that. A dodge tap delay that will determine how long it takes for you to be able to double tap and do a dodge motion. You will see that in game. For mouse, it sets you to have mouse acceleration by default and gives you a small little exponent. I turn it completely off. You probably don't want mouse acceleration for an arena shooter, so keep that in mind. Game and weapons options we'll come back to momentarily. So let's start here with the video options. I run this game on Ultra, and I'll talk about performance momentarily, but this game supports all types of resolutions. You can go down to standard 4:3. I think there's even some 5:4 resolution somewhere in here. And, of course, your standard 16:9, 1920 by 1080. Also, unofficially, and I guess it's kind of official, but you get black bars on all that stuff, does support my ultra-wide monitor, and I'm playing this in Letterboxd right now just to show you guys how it runs. So that is good, and like I said, it's not 100% supported, but it does work, and that's always better than not. Everything else pretty self-explanatory. Anisotropic filtering, shadow, world detail. You have a certain type of screen space ambient occlusion, which you can turn on and off. their version of chromatic aberration, which looks pretty darn good. Light shafts, texture streaming, which you could keep off for if you have a decent computer. I like minimum blur intensity. Maximum's a little overkill. Medium looks good, but minimum takes advantage of the frame rate I get. Anti-aliasing, you have off MLAA, which looks the best. FXAA 1, 2, and 3, which is how many passes it does. And I don't really like FXAA, just blur stuff out. I like MLAA quite a bit, but I'd rather have no anti-aliasing than FXAA. MFAA does also work in the NVIDIA control panel if you'd like to, check that out on your own. Field of view goes to from 70 to 120 degrees. If you play on 70, what is wrong with you? I keep it in the 105 to 110 area, depending if I'm playing ultra wide or not, and it runs just fine. You'll want VSync off for this. Has a frame rate cap of 242 FPS, which, considering this is in the Unreal Engine 3, that's pretty darn good. And what do you need higher for that anyway? So, yeah, pretty good options menu. Not terribly exhaustive, but it covers everything, and that's what matters. Let's talk about the weapons menu. So you pick up all these weapons in game, and you do have the ability to change weapon priority. So which one you will auto switch to if you pick it up, which is very nice because there's certain weapons that I like a lot better than ones that they put by default. For instance, I would rather have the Bullcraft shotgun over the Stingray plasma rifle in most situations, so you can customize that, which is very nice. You can also see every one of your weapons on the weapon bar that you've picked up, and you can customize all the colors of those if you so desire, which is cool. Custom crosshairs are available from the get-go that you can change weapon by weapon. I haven't gone through and done everything to my exact specifications. I just changed them for the video a little bit, but you can absolutely change different colors. You can make them glow. You can put multiple layers and stack them up. Looks very nice. Hit marker, you can customize your hit marker, so this is the default. I like it actually the best out of everything, but you can change the different sounds. Like I said, I like default the best. And got a little invert zoom if you'd like to, for whatever reason, invert the zoom in, zoom out keys. So that's pretty much it as far as weapons. Game, few options in here, nothing terribly important that doesn't, explain itself. Next, let's talk customization. This is something that is always fun to do in first-person shooters, right? So, from the get-go, you have every main color and subcolor unlocked on your armor, as you would expect. Unfortunately, they did limit this at some point in the beta, but after a lot of feedback, they did change it to where every main color, subcolor, and glow on your armor is unlocked from the start, which is preferable. You can customize an armor tag to show up on your armor, clan tag, and represent the country that you choose. And you have quite a few different options for helmets and armor, and you can mix match the two. And there are quite a few good looking things. And this is all determined based off of your match experience. There's a skill class indicator as well, and that does not tie into unlocks. This is just rewards for playing the game, which is awesome. And there's some very, like I said, some very good looking stuff. I mean, at last, Phil Marshall and the Emperor General combinations, those look very, very cool. So that's about it as far as customizations go. It's quick and dirty, but it's effective, and it looks pretty damn great. So let's talk modes. What can you do in this game? Well, there's a couple different options. First, you can play solo, and you do a couple different things in that. First of all, you can play the new contracts mode that has just been added, which is a kind of walk you through, step you through every map in the game. You begin on Caliber, which is kind of calibrates your performance and get you warmed up to the ideas of the player movement model, and gives you some time trials and stuff to beat to get extra experience points. And this goes through it. You can read, and it gives you a little bit of a loose narrative. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it is enough to show, in my opinion, that Reactor does care about this world that they have created, which is pretty cool to me. None of the challenges were, significantly difficult for someone like me who's played this game for a year and a half, but if you're fresh out of it, I think it's going to be a great place to, start and earn your ranks and just get used to the weapons and movement flow and, start memorizing the maps. Boot Camp is a similar experience, except you get to customize everything, every aspect of the game. You can choose map, game modes, settings. You can even add on mutators, which will change the game settings even further, ranging from having your head swell as your KD increases, to faster rocket launchers, to damage plumes, just crazy stuff. You can also play different maps that you've downloaded off the Steam Workshop. This game does support custom maps, which is great. A lot of these maps have been ported from, past games like Unreal Tournament and Quake, and a lot of these are, brand new and original, and there are some very high quality maps in there that I definitely suggest checking out. And I do believe that custom servers will be able to run those going forward, which is pretty cool. Multiplayer is your pretty standard affair. You have a quick match that will matchmake and throw you into a server, and looks at your skill class to do so. And of course you have your good old-fashioned server browser that you can look through and choose the game on your own. And just a quick comment about this game was practically dead during its beta phases. You'd get a couple players that would hop on every now and then to check out a big patch, and I'd play with them for a day, and then the next day it would be pretty much dead again. Well, I'm super enthusiastic and happy to say that this game has so much life in it right now. I know it's just right after launch, but I really feel like we're going to have a solid player base. I feel like we're going to peak into the several thousands and have consistently at least 50 to a couple hundred on at all times. I really hope it stays that way, but it's been so much fun just being able to hop on and be a part of this really cool small community whenever I feel like it. So what do you do in this game? Well, TOXIKK has many weapons of about every class that you can think of. There's a melee or repair tool, there's a single and triple shot pistol that you spawn with. You can pick up an assault rifle that shoots a grenade launcher as a secondary, a sniper rifle with a large zoom, a shotgun that shoots 2 rounds at the same time for its secondary, a flamethrower that can charge up and shoot 1 large burst as its secondary, a laser and beam ray, a rocket launcher that locks on to enemy vehicles, and the uber weapon Hellraiser, which is the one that you probably won't be able to counter with any of the other weapons if someone has you in your sights. Yeah, this thing is pretty ridiculous. Speaking of vehicles, there are 5 different vehicles. You can spawn a hover bike in larger scale maps where you need quick transportation as long as you have enough Eden energy. A hovercraft of its own that looks a little bit like a, kind of a jet engine looking hovercraft type deal that you can get quite a bit, of distance off the ground, but you can't actually fly, but you have a pretty decent chain gun and you can cover a lot of distance very quickly. You have the Humvee/Warthog styled armored carrier here that has a beam rifle and laser turret. There's basically a vehicle mounted version of the Stingray that can get you to A to B really quickly, goes extremely fast, and hey, has a horn. Everyone loves that. You have a Phantom aircraft which kind of flies like a Harrier would, vertical takeoff, and of course you can cover a lot of distance horizontally. And finally you have the Demon Battle Mech, which who doesn't love a good mech fight? Every one of these vehicles are fun to use and surprisingly fit really well into an arena shooter, which I wouldn't have thought would have been possible before I picked this game up, but it draws a nice gap between over-the-top sci-fi shooters like Halo and bridging these genres together. I really enjoy that. Map variety is also something else to take note of. You have anything from as small as Cube, where it's just a free-for-all bloodlust and bloodbath in the middle of a very simple map, all the way up to Twin Peaks, which can be 8-on-8 cell capture, brutal, large-scale warfare. None of these maps have gotten old to me yet. It's never a stale moment. Every game is different, but it's consistent. And I think these maps really draw together the best of all types of different locales and map design features. Some of these maps are locked to individual game modes. You can't play like these very small maps with cell capture. You can't play these huge maps on Bloodlust, but I think they all have their own purpose, and I like playing all the game modes, and it's really nice that you get to vote on whatever game mode you want to after the match is over, so you shouldn't ever, get too bored of one as long as someone's not spamming one map over the other. And to expand upon the whole locales point, that's one of my favorite things about the map design here. We have some really good flow, a lot of really nice asymmetry, even for small scale warfare here, but my favorite thing is just every map is so different looking. This is a sci-fi futuristic arena shooter. They could have just as well made maps that were all look, sci-fi lab looking like Deck, or had a bunch of metal and shiny shit everywhere. And there's a couple different maps that do reflect that art style, but we have downtown Chinese slums, we have a couple temple maps, We have Canadian Rockies. It's just really cool how different the locales are in all of these maps, and it still fits the aesthetic and the theme of the game. So I think that's really cool. One of the make it or break it features for a lot of arena shooters for me is the movement model. And boy, oh boy, does this movement model in this game have some mojo to it. It's very much like Unreal Tournament 2004 if you had played it. There's shift dodging, there are double jumps, there are wall dodges, and you can, string them together and combine them to fit your play style. If you're extremely good, you can get from one end to the map from the other in absolutely no time. I think it was in a Steam review that I read the comparison of calling this game's movement model like a car with a V12 engine. It's raw, it's powerful, and once you figure it out, you will never go back. But there is a learning curve, and it's easy to get into, hard to master, one of those types of systems, and I think that is the best kind for a level playing field type game such as TOXIKK, where you don't spawn with loadouts, everything is on the map, and whatever performance you have is all based on what you do that match, not whatever you've unlocked beforehand. So I completely agree with that analogy, and it's what makes this movement model in game so approachable and so likable in the long run, because of those incremental improvements that you can make over time, and just being able to get to a spawn weapon half a second faster, or being able to dodge a million rockets coming at you when you're trying to capture a cell. Those are very valuable skills that you will slowly but surely get more accustomed to. It just makes the game super addictive. As far as the overall gameplay goes, if I'd had to describe it in a single sentence, it would be smooth but tactile. Everything you do it's butter, but it's exactly what you want to do. Played a lot of arena shooters, a lot of AAA titles in the past year that look good when you watch it, but it just feels like there's this huge filter, huge disconnect between you and your character. Not so on this game. You are in an F1 car. You get to feel every little bit of feedback, and it's just made PC gaming on decent peripherals such an enjoyment. And speaking of which, I didn't cover this at the control section, so I'll put it here. I have uploaded a custom keyboard profile for the Corsair K65 RGB up to Corsair Share. It should be, processed by now. If it isn't, I'll post it when it is. And if you don't have a K65 and you have an RGB keyboard, otherwise feel free to copy it or tweak it any way you like. But I thought it might help some people, so it will be up there. Anywho, I digress. This game overall just does not feel like an indie game. This does not feel like this should have been a small studio that made it. This is what Doom multiplayer should have been. I was absolutely in love with the Doom single player, but the multiplayer was such a bad experience. It was so consoleized and just AAA-ized. I don't know. It was like comparing Crysis 1 to Crysis 3, that whole digression. So being able to hop into here was just so refreshing. To go back to simplicity, but to have that AAA polish that we've all come to expect. If I had to compare this to something else, I would call this the Insurgency of arena shooters. Don't know how many of you have played Insurgency, but it's an indie game that is based off the Source engine, and it's a hardcore style military shooter. It's not like a sim, but it's way beyond, Call of Duty or Battlefield levels of realism. And that's a game that also doesn't feel like it should be an indie game. The graphics are much worse in Insurgency than TOXIKK, but it still has that sort of same charm. And I think TOXIKK devs really knocked it out of the park in the same way they did, with just focusing on their genre and making it the best they can. I think the thing that's going to keep this game running for a long time is its nice balance between consistency and variety. I think a lot of games try to go too far one way or the other, and they lose sight of that nice balance. There are some games like, say, Call of Duty 4 that everyone loved for the longest time, and it still has some life in it even 9 years after. But there is such a thing as being too consistent. It's always nice to be able to hop on a game and get an experience pretty damn close to what you expect to have, but there's no variety if it doesn't really change from one session to the next, then why continue to play it? You know, you're just playing the same shit over and over. So being able to have a different experience every time, but a consistently good one and a consistent solid arena shooter experience, I think that's something that will carry this game forward for hopefully a very long time. Having options for custom maps and custom game modes, that'll just push its lifespan even further. So, before I give my final recommendation, I'd like to make a couple comments on the whole early access system. Bear with me, folks, I'm almost done. So this game started a year and a half ago and was released in early access. I can say that this is one of the best success stories of early access I've ever seen. In my opinion, this game was released too early. It was missing a couple weapons, had no vehicles, it only had one small map. And, you know, I played the shit out of it for the first week. But there was a lot of other, a couple fidelity issues. There was a lot of music that was missing. The movement model wasn't 100% done. But it was still, you know, a solid game when it came out. It just took a long time. And the devs, I think, tried to crunch too much. They set their sights way too quickly. They wanted to have this game done in like 5 months. And I knew it was going to happen, given the number of maps they wanted and all that. But it did happen. They stuck to their promise. And, you know, with such the low player counts and all that kind of thing that was going on during the beta cycle, it just gives me hope that there are good developers out there. And I know that we're dealing with a good developer, a good team, and you know, a good community manager and management team, that is, that they just really, they love their own game. And man, does that help. And I've seen nothing but good, you know, felt nothing but good vibes. I've always had good conversations with them and the community. They've always taken feedback seriously and, you know, had a really good balance of filtering out just bullshit complaints to actual constructive criticism of the game. Pretty much everything that I've pointed out in past videos and that people on the forums have always said that were, you know, minor fixes but would just be so much better for quality of life, or something that is just completely, you know, going against their design philosophy, within the next 2 patches it was fixed. And that is just such a good thing. It's a good thing about being a small community, number one, but that is such a nice refreshment from some of these just asshole AAA developers that we're dealing with. And most of it's the publisher's fault, if you want to be completely honest. But yes, I think this was an early access success, one of very few. And I would like to commend the devs once again to sticking to their no bullshit mantra for this game, the design philosophy, and their conduct in general. So bravo on that. So finally, the moment we've all been waiting for, the overall recommendation. What do I think about this game? Well, I paid a small discount for this game when it came out, pre-ordered it the week before for around $18.99, something along those lines. I believe it's being sold right now as of recording this review for $15, or you can buy a 4-pack for $40, which is pretty awesome. At that price point, I say get it right now if you have any interest in the arena shooter genre. Are there alternatives to this game right now? Kind of, yes. None of them are finished, though, or out. Or in a finished state that I think deserves playing. You have Doom multiplayer, which is not an arena shooter. Let me just go ahead and tell you. The closest thing to arena shooter than that is that you pick up health, ammo, one weapon, and you can't aim down sights on every gun. That's about it. The rest of it, there's loadouts. It's absolutely ridiculous. The game is slow. It's cluggy, whatever. The only other thing that's out right now is Unreal Tournament's pre-alpha, the new Unreal Tournament by Epic. And like I said, it's still in pre-alpha. And as much as I do enjoy that game, I really do, actually feel like I'm a bit better at Unreal Tournament. I also feel like it's simpler, and it just, even though it's in a new engine, Unreal Engine 4, and it's gorgeous, it just doesn't have the same soul. I don't know. I feel like it's lost a lot of its genuity from past installments. And I think this one, TOXIKK, really captures that. So yeah, you're a crazy person if you don't buy this game. If you are, you know, if you're an arena shooter enthusiast. They have stuck to no bullshit, It is frag like it's 1999. You have a free demo to try it if you are not 100% sure, if you want to give it a few hours. No, it is not free to play. I've seen a lot of bitching on forums that seem to indicate that it is not. It is a demo. I know some people may be too young to remember what a demo was, but used to you could play a limited portion of a game for free, either with a limited time ticker or just play a couple levels, and then that would give you an idea whether you want to buy the full game or not. I know, crazy concept, but so try it out if you're not 100% sure. But this game is quality, it's variety, it's consistency, and it's a lot of damn fun. And I've grown to really love it over the past year and 6-8 months that I've been covering it. I've come to really enjoy being a part of this community. I think we overuse the word community a lot of times in the video game industry. This is a community right here, folks, on Discord and the forums. Even though the game is named Toxic, the community is nothing of toxicity whatsoever. It's always, GGs and good jobs after a match, and that was fun. Party up after this, whatever it is. It's a very good experience beyond just the technical expectations of the game itself. So yes, it is very good. Performs very well. You should have been able to see some frame counters in the corner. On a 980 Ti, you can run anything on a 500 series card or up. You'll be able to get pretty damn good performance on this game. It is not that demanding and still looks good. So yes, I do give it a pretty much full marks for value proposition and expected value proposition for the next little while. So there you have it. Maybe this wasn't the most in-depth review. You can go back and look at other videos if you want some really nitty-gritty details, but that's not what this is. That's not what this was designed for. I just want to give a high-level detail. I don't want to spoil all the fun of you trying it out on your own. And I really just wanted to say thank you once again to Reactor Studios and to all the community management. I've had a lot of good times just playing this game, being a part of its growth, seeing it, hopefully being part of constructive criticism and feedback to get it to the wonderful state that it has released in. And I wish you guys nothing but luck on this project going forward and whatever future endeavors. So thank you for an awesome game. Thank you for not being a shit sack and a sea of shit sack developers. And I hope to see you guys on the battlefield. Leave comments below if you have any specific questions. I'll try to get back to you. And yeah, go frag like it's 1999, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. Bye.